welcome into this week's episode of Tech Talk. As always, I'm Steven, joined here by Rami, the CEO and founder of Auxi. Rami, it's been a little bit since we recorded one of these, actually. It's been a
Yeah,
couple of weeks.
well, it's good to see you. I think it's because we overdid it last time. We gave them a lot of content. So we bought ourselves a few weeks.
Yeah,
Excited to
yeah.
be back though. So it's good to see you before the holidays.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely happy to be here. Today we're going to go over a recent survey, the results of it that McKinsey released about a month ago about AI and its adoption in the business world here. So, just a quick summary of this survey. One of the key findings was that 88% of organizations have reported using AI in at least one business function. However, only about 33% of those have begun scaling AI programs across the enterprise. So, let's kind of talk about how Auxi can help with this. So, how is Auxi uniquely positioned to close this gap? How do we help people move from like the experimentation phase to the true
Sure.
enterprise scaling?
Yeah. Um, so honestly, I think these numbers make sense. So like what we see is that a lot of companies are experimenting with AI. A lot of them don't know exactly like how they're gonna be using it and exactly like where it's gonna sit well within the firm. So you have all sorts of pilots going on. And I think the trick there is to kind of define success metrics. Like, what does it mean exactly for a pilot to go well? And also, especially if the product is complicated, uh, we're lucky to have a product that is actually very obvious in terms of the value it brings. So like if you have Oxy Enterprise set up well, etc., like it's very obvious how quickly you get up to speed on slide making, and like how faster you become. Now the to answer your question, Oxy is a bit different because like we've been doing this for 7 years now, and when we come into an organization through like an enterprise license, it's a product that is already established that they are using, but then it's a matter of customizing the assets, the branding, the automation, all these things, so it works well with their firm. It's not a question of figuring out exactly how to implement AI. It's a question of these are the AI features that people use on Oxy today. You just purchase an Oxy Enterprise plan and everybody's excited about it. Now let's make sure that Oxy is actually building these slides in your own branding and your own way of doing things. So I think it comes with more ease of mind and peace because they are buying something that is already working and being used by a lot of other companies. And there's also kind of a challenger mindset there because if you take like the proposal automation and consulting, the first assumption clients make is I want to ask it anything and it will generate any slides for me. And that was the first version of the product, but we realized actually nobody uses it this way. The way people use it is through specific workflows that work like a consultant. So like to ask you specific questions for you to get to the end goal. And that's kind of the most effective way of using Gen AI in the proposal setup. Um, so there's a fair amount of education that needs to be done on both sides. And if anyone tells you like we know 100% what's going on with AI and what's next, they probably are not saying the truth. But it's very important that whatever is being implemented actually makes a difference value-wise in the real like world versus kind of just making good headlines, explaining to your board that yeah, like we have an AI initiative. What does it actually mean? Like how is it actually helping your team? And I think the main golden question is what is the team using? Like if you look at usage metrics, what is happening? And this is how we work at Oxy. So I think it's very important that this is always the source of truth because AI makes it easier to sell, makes it easier to get everybody excited, especially on the exec level. But then like once you deploy it, the question is how are people using it? How are they using it, etc. And that's what we focus on. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw like a meme post where it was like, I told our board we're starting a new AI initiative, and they asked what it meant, and I said, oh, we're optimizing workflows. Everyone was left happy, and like they put new money into the company. It's like one of those like joke posts.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's kind of important once you kind of actually can see, okay, we're building slides twice as fast or as usual as
yeah.
we were previous to Oxy. It's good to have those actual numbers in front of you. So another finding from this report is the rise of AI agents. So 62% of companies,
Mm.
about two-thirds, have started experimenting with agents. Is auxi experimenting with any agents itself? I guess is a good way to frame this one.
Yeah, so we have agents that connect to auxi features, and we set them up as part of the customization. But we also find that agents are often overkill. Like you don't need agents for like some simpler tasks. So like for example, if you're searching like a very basic small document, then often like a one-shot model is way faster than like having a reasoning model. It's gonna take like a lot of back and forth, etc. And then on the agents front, also it's the same. It's like kind of the same analogy. Like you don't really need a lot of complexity to answer simple questions. Now, if there is like a huge kind of step-by-step process that needs to be followed, and the model needs to understand exactly what the user intended, that would be a good fit. The downside of these is waiting time on responses. So like the way we approach it is we allow the user to do other stuff while they're waiting for the responses of the user. And if you use like if you write code and use something like Replit or Copilot on GitHub, like you'd actually realize that it's kind of the same concept. It's basically like you ask it to edit your code, but while it's working, you can go and like do other stuff. So it's the same thing. So I wouldn't just use agents just for the sake of using them. We would use them just if the task at hand is complicated enough that an agent is the only solution. And there's an obvious change in the quality of responses when you use agents. But the downside is speed. Like it takes way more time to get an answer. So it's a balance. Like you kind of pick and choose exactly what is needed and where. And the way we set up agents usually is like very specific to a set of tasks or like PowerPoint sections. So if you are building like a team section on PowerPoint, then we'd have an agent that is set up specifically to build team sections. It has clear instructions. It's been like set up and trained to build specifically team sections with its own knowledge base that is like your team profiles, etc. So that's a good example of that. Like that would be one agent that does this thing and this thing only. And then part of our stack is that you are able to kind of move easily between agents depending on the task at hand. And then you have one main agent that connects everything together if you'd like, right? So all of these things, kind of form the picture when it comes to agents.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, especially when it comes to like the approach, the team section, like you mentioned, and other smaller sections. That way you can break it up. In terms of how people are kind of measuring success within AI at their companies, the high performers, the people that are getting the most out of AI, are treating it as not just a cost cutter, but actually as a way to innovate and like transform their business. So within auxi, how are you kind of staying up to date with innovation and transformation when it comes to AI? Because this is something, it's an experiment really at this point.
Yeah, well, so it's a good question. So many different things. First, like we have dedicated team members that only do this and they do this full time, and we always use the latest tech stacks available. So like we are on all the developer platforms for all the big model providers. We also have our own models sometimes, like for specific use cases. So depending on the situation, but as models get better, we are finding it like just way easier to connect to them and like set them up correctly, and have us focus on like what we do best, which is like not model training or optimization. It's basically like just building, the add-in to run better, be efficient, allow people to kind of build professional slides faster. Um, the way I do it personally is I use AI to keep me up to date, which is kind of funny. So I use Perplexity for a lot of my like searches and research. And the way I use it is I set up tasks that are automated every day. So every morning I receive like an email that has like the latest updates on specific research papers and research topics that I am interested in on the auxi side, and that kind of helps us always stay up to date. And I also think that like so I'm not an academic, but I think like the research publication websites are a great source to understand exactly like what are the latest things going on, like from a research perspective and from like what is possible. When I started Oxy, I used to rely a lot on research papers to understand like what is technically possible and what is not. kind of base it on that. And the downside of this is that like you can try 100 things, and then out of 100, maybe two things work in real life. Um, so meaning that research papers are great in theory, but in real life often they fail. Uh, so so having all these automations help you kind of detect the ones that make a lot of sense, and you know from experience have a good likelihood of working. But at the end of the day, when it comes to AI, you work differently. You're not working in sprints. You're working as a research project, which is what you mentioned. So you have to keep experimenting, seeing results, and optimizing. And you benchmark all of this against actual data, um, which is why like being so when I say actual data is actually like actual prompts from subject matter experts. So that's why like when you really understand your ICP or your market, you can kind of come up with like 50 prompts that they will probably write. And then you can kind of benchmark it against the results that something like Auxi gives you and see like how good of a job it does. So like the more focused you are on your users and the more niche you are, I think the better. So that's kind of how we approach all of this today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting world of kind of figuring out, what's new is what's new going to work, and then how long is something that works, so like is it going to stick for a while, or is it just a fad or trend? Um,
Exactly.
last kind of statistic here from the survey, something we talked about a lot, but interesting to see what other people think. In terms of workforce impact, 32% of people expect workforce reductions due to AI, 43% say no change, and actually about 13% say they expect things to increase in terms of workforce. So, no, we talked about this a lot. You can't really replace the person with AI.
Yeah.
Interesting to see. I actually was kind of surprised about the people that say it will lead to increases, but I guess AI can open up some internal engineering roles and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I think that it's I think so. There's a lot of hype around AI right now, right? But honestly, I don't think it's there at the level where it can actually replace a person fully. It can definitely make a person like way faster, and that's like what we're seeing today. And
Yeah,
the surprise is when it makes someone faster, it doesn't mean that you need less people. You need then the what happens is you end up doing way more with the same team.
yeah,
So that's like what we've seen, and it's been really interesting because we had clients who all they did was slide making. So like, well, the first thing they were concerned about is, will actually like replace us, right? And what they realized is actually they started getting more jobs, like more tasks and job requests done. So their clients were much more happier, and then it allowed them to do better versus like have less out billable hours, right?
yeah,
Um, so yeah, so I think it's like the net at the end is way more positive than negative for everybody.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it's
on
it's
the
it's this common this common saying like you're not gonna be replaced by a person by AI, you're gonna be replaced by a person who uses AI better, right? So I think I
yes,
believe in that. I think that's the case.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I agree with the 43% who say no change. I think, like you said, it just opens up more time to get to the important stuff, as we like to say, instead of
yeah.
spending all the time in PowerPoint. So that's the wrap on the McKinsey survey here. Rami, it was good to be back doing this with you, and I hope everyone enjoyed. If you
Likewise.
did enjoy, leave a like for us. Let us know your
Yeah.
favorite part. Share it, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Stephen. Speak and see you soon.
Absolutely.